Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to the Stepping Up video hub. Now this video hub includes lots and lots of participants and inspirations for layouts, so be sure to check out my description box and go on over and check out those videos from everyone else as well. Now for my layout today, I am creating the second part of my 2-page spread that I started last week. Now for the first part, I will leave the link to that video down below, so check that out. And for the second part, I am going to be using 3 photos on this layout today. Now here I pulled out as a frame around my layout this sapphire cardstock from Close to My Heart. I'm going to go in about 2 inches and gut the center out so I can use it as a layer behind my photo later on. You're not going to see it once I add my pattern paper on there, so I do not waste it. I'm going to gut it and use it later on. Next up, I will use the same pattern paper I used on the first layout, which would be the marble design pattern paper. And I'll go ahead and remove 1 inch off 2 sides. And that's what I'm going to use to add to that sapphire blue cardstock. Now a lot of the items I used on the first layout, I am going to add it to the second layout just to tie both layouts together, but the placement of the items may be a little different. I did not want it to match up exactly. Now I have these 3 photos here of my grandson. This is the first day of 4th grade. He's here waiting for the bus, and these photos are 4x6 in size. I decided to go ahead and trim them down a bit, and they're now gonna be 3x6. I did consider trimming a little bit off the bottom there, but I stopped. So once I have all 3 photos trimmed up to 3x6, I am gonna add a white border all the way around. And you can see I just added to 1 long strip of white cardstock there, and I'm just going to trim it up that way instead of individually. And next I'm going to ink the edge of that white cardstock using some sapphire ink here from Close to My Heart. Now, if you're familiar with the Close to My Heart cardstock, one side is darker than the other side. I am using the darker side on this layout today. So now we have these 2 pattern papers I used on the previous layout, which would be that teal grid design there and that paper planes design. I did some tearing on the first layout as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue with that on the second layout as well, just to tie them both together. Now adding in both of these torn pieces here at the bottom of my photos, it was just a bit too much, so I decided just to go with the paper planes design, and instead of adding the strip where it is on the first layout, I'm adding it to the top of my layout here today instead. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add my marbled design on my blue cardstock. I'm distressing the edges there with my distress tool from Tim Holtz, and I'm also going to tear off parts of the right side and left side, which once again ties it in with the first layout where I did some paper tearing as well. I'm going to add some of the flip side of that marble paper, which is the teal, and I'm just going to adhere that there using some washi tape to keep it in place. I also distress the edge there so it blends in with the marble edge, and I do the same here for the bottom left. So here I'm distressing that strip that I'm going to add below my photo. Part of that paper is torn and the rest of it I'm distressing. I'm also inking it with the sapphire blue ink pad there. And that just helps define that pattern paper and separate it from that marbled background. And I am using these torn pieces here. Now, I'm going to add these behind my photo, but I'm just cutting out the parts that I need to add the frame around the photo. The center part, you're not going to see, removing it, so that way I can use it later on. Doing the same here with the sapphire blue cardstock to add a frame around my photo once again. So I'm adding a few layers behind there. Now I did use this punch on the first layout, and I decided to go ahead and punch out the entire strip that's going to be on the top of my photos. This is actually one of my favorite punches, and I will be sure to link it down below. Now adding this blue sapphire behind the punched out pattern paper there, you can definitely see that punch design a lot better. So next up, I'm just going to use a few of the scrap pieces of that blue cardstock and fill in all the way around the photos to complete that frame. And now I'll do some stamping. Now I have this card here, it's green, it's part of a card that I cut apart on my last video. And the second half I will use in a few moments on the layout. But for now, I'm going to stamp on it. It's a grid design. It's from the Project Life cards from the Smarty Pants collection. And I'm going to use this blue sapphire there ink pad and stamp out the words stepping up, which goes with the theme of this video hop today, but also works really well with this layout. So I'm gonna go ahead and stamp that out on this green pattern paper here. It's actually a green card, a green Project Life card. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut around the words. You can see I also stamped out the word grade. And I am using a stamp set from close to my heart. I think it's called a Whimsy alphabet, and I will have it linked down below. I am going to ink up the edges of those word phrases I stamped out. And I do the same for the word grade. And using the same stamp set I used on the first layout, on the second layout, the second part, it ties it both in once again. So now I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want those words to be. I already knew I want stepping up to be on the top of that photo all the way to the right. And I grabbed the number 4 for, it's a foam number from the foam sticker sheets from close to my heart. There's alphas and numbers on there. It's white, and I just used the Sapphire Ink Pad to ink it up blue. And you can see I placed it directly there on my photo. Now I'm grabbing some of the stickers from the sticker sheet, and I pulled in the second half of the layout once again just to make sure it's all flowing nicely together. So this is the second part of that card I talked about before, and I'm going to cut it apart and add it to the lower right corner of the layout. Now I'm creating some flags using some washi here. I show exactly how I do it. I just fold it in half, trim it up there, and cut the ends to create flags, which is something I also did on the first layout. And I'm going to create flags using 3 different colors here. And those I'm going to place under that backpack sticker that I added. I'm going to pull in some silver metallic thread and some silver ink as well for some splatters. That silver ink is really subtle on that really busy background, but you can see specks of it also on the blue cardstock. Here I'm pulling in some wooden stars, and I'm gonna go ahead and place them exactly where I want them to be, then use some liquid adhesive to adhere them. And I am gonna do the same for those silver sequins. And both of those are also from Close to My Heart. I love the sequin mix. It's gonna be awesome for shaker pockets, but for today I'm just using different sizes in the silver sequins. In there are also some stars, but those are clear. Like I said on my previous video, you're not gonna see those if I place them on this layout. It's just too busy, and being clear, it will not show up. So here is my completed layout. I hope you guys enjoyed the process today. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up, and I hope you consider subscribing as well. Here we have both layouts together, my double page spread. Once again, if you have not already seen the first layout process, I will have it linked down below. Check out everyone else participating on this hop today. Lots and lots and lots of inspiration, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So I want to thank y'all for watching, and until my next video, bye.